Welcome to our first Rochester Chamber Toastmasters education workshop. We decided to do this because we want to provide some education to our newer members about public speaking, as well as allow our veterans to also research and share their knowledge about public speaking to everybody else. And we are glad that we're able to share this event to the District 6 Toastmasters, so then other fellow Toastmasters from the community can also join us and learn together. We have 5 speeches total, and the speeches are quite long, so without further ado, we'll get started right away to make sure that we have enough time at the end for some networking at the end. So our first speaker today is going to be Craig Weckwerth. His speech is going to be Mastering Zoom Master Role. Please welcome Craig Weckwerth.
Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and all our honored guests. Do you remember back a long time ago when Chamber Toastmasters actually met in the Chamber building in the conference room? And I remember that we often struggled with getting our PCs connected to the projection screen. And I remember when we struggled to have remote PCs connected to us from remote locations like Florida or Arizona. And on one memorable occasion, Rick joined us from his trip to Mars. Now we have members who join us routinely from remote locations, from home, from work, from the Philippines. Hi, Vivian. And in a few months, from my ice shack. We no longer struggle with these remote connections thanks to the wonders of Zoom. But along with the wonders of Zoom came a new role, the Zoom Master. The Zoom Master coordinates the online portion of the meeting and brings the Zoomers into the room. This role has proved almost essential to run a professional hybrid meeting. Several members of our group, of our club, volunteer routinely to be our Zoom Masters. Others might be a little intimidated, and I hope to change that today with this little speech. Donnie is one of our frequent Zoom Masters, and he'll be demonstrating his adept talent at Zoom skills today. Thanks, Donnie. And I'm going to ask him to jump through a lot of hoops today. So let's cut him a little slack as he works through these Zoom techniques. Now, Donnie, I have about 20 minutes of material here, so set my speed on 1.5, okay? I wish it was that simple. Today, we're going to talk about the Zoom Master role. We're going to talk about how to be a good Zoom Master, and we're going to talk about why we should be Zoom Masters. First, the Zoom Master role. The whole purpose of the Zoom Master is to help the Zoomers be in the room. So to do that, the Zoom Master has to know what the Zoomers are actually seeing and hearing. The hybrid experience, of course, is maximized by all of the great equipment setup that we've got here. With Dave's equipment, the Zoomers can hear and see what's going on in the room because Dave's given us a good microphone and a good camera. We've got a good PC and we've got a great projection screen up there. The Toastmaster is a big part of bringing the Zoomers in too. For instance, when a speaker has an online evaluator, we usually bring the speaker up to the lectern so that the online Zoomer can see the speaker that they're evaluating. We also want the roomers to be able to see and hear the Zoomers. So think of that projection screen up there as an extension of the table. It's just a really long table that reaches all the way to the Philippines. Generally, whenever a Zoomer speaks, meaning speaking with a role of some sort or a topic, we're going to pin their face up on the board. And that way the roomers can get a close-up view of that person who's speaking. Now, both video and audio are important, so it's good for the Zoomers to keep their video active. So those of you who have taken your picture off the screen right now, we'd really love to see your face because you're part of the table. Steve? Speaking of audio, We have several people in the room. This is not normal, but for this speech only, we have several people around the table that have their PCs in front of them, and they are on the Zoom call as well. I've asked all of those people with PCs in the room here, or devices in the room, to not be connected to computer audio. And this is why. Christy, can you go to computer audio? All right, let's see what happens. We should get a little ambient noise here, like me speaking or something. And generally what we get is we get a little bit of feedback. You hear what's going on? I don't know, Zoomers, you hear that feedback? Raise your hand if you hear the feedback. Okay, we got some, that's what happened. Christy, are you out of there now? Please, thank you. I get to be a little bossy today. Forgive me, please. I have to, in order to talk at 1.5, I got to run through this quick. Whenever there's another device in the room, we want it not connected to computer audio. That's a phone or a PC or anything. The only one we want connected is the Zoom Master to audio. You can be on video all you want. You can have as many cameras in the room as you want, but only one on audio. Another purpose of role of the Zoom Master is to communicate and coordinate between the Zoomers and the roomers. So the Zoom Master is really the liaison between the roomers and the Zoomers, and especially between the Toastmaster and the Zoomers. Because if we are going to talk at all, it goes through the chat. So you got to be comfortable using the chat feature on this. And if you think of that, a lot of things right away, when I'm a Zoom master, what I'll do is I'll chat out whoever is in the room with whatever roles they have, especially if we've got an online topic master. So they know they've got a list of who's in the room and who's got a role. So they can right away choose who doesn't have a role, and they can also know who's available in the room, and then they can see on Zoom. We got a great room cam, but they can't always pick out faces from that and associate who's doing what with that. The other thing that we do with this is beforehand, somebody got a pen? Carl, can you hand me a pen right in front of you? There you go. Thank you. Because beforehand, a good Zoom master or a good Toastmaster would ask for a list of everybody who's on Zoom, and the Zoom master would give the Toastmaster a list of everybody who's on Zoom. So I'm going to write down, as I didn't do this in advance, I'm going to write down Steve, and I'm going to write down, is that Amen? Are you online? Okay, see, it's a long ways from here.
Yes.
And Ganga's online too. Great. Okay, so you're going to be
Yes.
my pretend members today that are online. All right. And so what the Zoom master will do is give that list to the Toastmaster. I'll tell you why in just a minute. We're going to demonstrate that. One of those things. The other thing that the Zoom master will do through chat right away is to chat out the word of the day to everybody. So everybody has it in front of them, unless the grammarian has already done that because they're on Zoom. So you just coordinate that. Another thing we like to do here is if there are people, Zoomers that have roles, we like to rename them in the participants screen so that everybody can see what role they're doing when they're on Zoom. A lot of little tricks that we can do there. Let's talk quick about the benefits of having a Zoom master. The Toastmaster has to manage a lot of things, especially with technology. So it takes most of those technology tasks off of the Toastmaster. The Toastmaster doesn't have to worry about that. It really allows for more of our seamless hybrid meetings. Because the Zoom master is doing the pinning of videos and things and coordinating that Zoom experience, it's sort of like doing our handshake when we hand off the lectern. When we pin that next speaker, when the Zoom master pins that next speaker up on the screen, it's like that handshake. So that becomes the lectern, and we never leave the lectern unattended then. The Toastmaster just says, and our next speaker is on Zoom, and Donnie pins it, and everybody is there, and that's the handshake. So it does minimize the technical issues that we have. Again, I got to emphasize, it's so important to have the good equipment. So let's have a quick round of applause for Charlie's for the projection screen and everything we have here, for Dave and all of his work with the equipment and the setup, and for the club, because the club has bought things like the camera and the PC. We've got a little Lenovo here that's dedicated to the club, and that's an essential, I think, essential tool of being a good Zoom master is you've got a consistent PC that's always ready to go. Briefly, what are the qualifications to be a Zoom master? You just have to be willing to learn a new skill. That's why we're here in Toastmasters. We learn new things all the time. So you just got to be willing to practice and develop those skills. It's all going to come down to practice. Now let's talk about how to be a good Zoom master. How much time? I'm already at green?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Panic sets in. Okay, now we're going to switch over. Is everybody out on Zoom on gallery view? Please be on gallery. Up in the right-hand corner, there's a view button, a view menu, and make sure you're on gallery view to begin with here. Now, Dave, what is your camera called in front of you? iPhone 6S. I'd like everybody to right-click on the iPhone 6S video and pin that video. Everybody who's got a PC in front of them. No, not you. Except for Donnie. Okay, and you should be seeing a close-up of essentially Donnie's screen now. This is the Zoom Master screen. Okay, good deal. That's what we're doing. So everybody's got that view going there now too. What I'd like to show is Donnie, we want to make sure that the speaker and the microphone are all appropriately set up. So when you're Zoom Master, you go down to that bottom left-hand corner for the mute button. You can run, yeah. Dave's got his camera in front of Donnie, so Donnie can't actually see his screen. If you take that up here, now you can see, and everybody out there, can everybody see that menu that's showing up there from Dave's? Okay, you can see that good. And you'll pick the appropriate speaker and microphone. Now, all of this is written down so that, and I'm going to show you those instructions in just a moment here. All of this is well documented on paper, in the bag with the PC or online. So you'll have all these instructions. The other thing we've got is chat. So if you can go over to the chat and just hit the chat button there someplace. And that chat, is going to be, again, going to be local for whatever PC you're looking at. Donnie can't project this chat out to everybody. Did we lost the iPhone video?
It's happened today.
Okay, scrap that.
It's coming back. There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, again, we generally use gallery view. Everybody can still keep Dave pinned on that one. Actually, let's unpin Dave. Unpin the iPhone 6S, everybody that's got a PC in front of them. And now we're going to have everybody with a PC, except Donnie, switch on the view, switch to speaker view. And you can close that. That's good, Donnie. Because when you're on speaker view, Donnie, actually, you can switch to speaker view as well.
I'm on speaker view.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Here we go.
There we go. Because you have Amen pinned.
She's not pinned, but when I put her on speaker view, that's who.
Oh, she's
showing up there.
Yeah, you should be getting me. You should be getting me. For whatever reason, we've got Amen up there still. Okay. And when we're on speaker view, that picks up the noise of whoever is talking. So it should switch to the camera of whoever is talking. You should remove that pin right now. There we go. So Amen, are you on mute? You should be. I don't know why you must be thinking really loudly.
Yep, I agree.
Stop that. Stop that. Maybe, but it should be picking me up then. Oh, interesting. Okay. If I was doing this correctly, then what would happen is doing introductions. I would just call on Steve to start talking and introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Steve.
There he goes. And we see Steve come up. And then I can read my list here and say, Amen, can you talk? Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Amen Amushan.
And everybody should see Amen when she talks. And I can say Ganga is our next Toastmaster to introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. Ganga Gopalkrishnan. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now you can go back to gallery view. So what we did there is Donnie didn't have to pin all of those individual people for their brief little introduction. It just rolls right through it. So Donnie could actually walk away from his PC during introductions, and then we're done. I'm already at red. This is really a scary situation here. I do need to show one more thing about sharing. Sharing pinning. So this is what we want to do first. Let's do pinning first, because this is a pet peeve of mine. This pinning is a pet peeve. Pinning is only local. Everybody on gallery view out there right now? Nobody's pinned? Good. Pinning is only local, meaning it's the PC in front of you. And remember that that projection screen is just Donnie's Zoom Master PC in front of us. So when Donnie pins somebody like Steve, let's pin Steve up there. We all see Steve's face close up. Somebody out there in Zoom land, Ganga, what are you seeing right now?
I can see Steve.
You can see Steve?
Yes,
Did you pin him?
not yet.
Are
I
you
can
on
pin.
Are you on gallery view or speaker view?
Gallery view.
Okay, you shouldn't see Christy sees everybody, everybody in the room sees everybody. Up on the screen, we see Steve. People out in Zoom land should not be seeing Steve unless they have him pinned.
I can see everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you'll see them in the gallery, but just as far as individual. Okay, now let's try this. Remove that pin, Donnie. Everybody sees a gallery view now? Now spotlight Steve. And everybody should see Steve now.
Yes.
This is a little trick taught to me by Colleen Marie, who I see is up there at some points in the Zoom too. So thank you, Colleen Marie, on that. Now, I don't spotlight very much because I don't necessarily want to take over everybody's PC. The other way that we can do this is by sharing. So let's get rid of the spotlight here now. Everybody should be on gallery view. We should just see gallery view right now. And let's share real quickly. So when we hit that green share button down on the bottom, we generally get this thing. And if people out in Zoom land, now watch Dave's iPhone again, and you'll see how Donnie's PC appears. Now, we normally would pick a window, either our desktop or a window to share. Donnie, could you pick that Zoom Master documentation window? There you go. And then hit the blue share button. And this is where we have all of our instructions for Zoom Master documented. You just scroll down, not there. There you go. If you scroll down through there, it's very detailed. So when you want to be a Zoom Master, just come here and then we'll walk you through those instructions. And it's all very, very detailed. There's nothing to worry about when you go there. Okay, so let's stop sharing right here, Donnie. I want to show our Zoom Masters another technique, because probably the most frequent mistake that I make is forgetting to hit the blue share button once I'm on that screen. I select my desktop or the PowerPoint to share, and then I forget to hit the blue button, and pretty soon I'm getting nasty grams over chat from all of the Zoomers saying, I can't see the slides. I can't see the slides. We're going to fix that. Everybody who's got a PC, everybody that's on a PC in front of them, watch Dave's camera. Donnie, go down to that up arrow there on the mute button and take the audio settings, and you'll get this. Now go to the share screen settings over on the left-hand side. Did we lose Dave? That's too bad. Very bad. Coming back?
Coming back.
Okay, I'm going to keep going because I'm out of time. So there's a setting down there about the fourth one down that says, when I share my screen to a meeting, I want the other button checked, the automatically share the desktop. And now hit the X and get out of there. Okay, now when you hit the share button, it automatically goes to your desktop. Now, if you want to share something else, you just have to hit Alt-Tab and go through whatever else you want to show. But that is a quick way of getting to the share without forgetting to hit the blue share button. One last thing, you don't need to pin the lectern. I'm here. All of you in the room can see me. I'm here. Look, you turn your head this way, Rick. I'm over here. Okay. You don't need to pin the lectern because everybody in the room can see the speaker, and that's why we're all in the room. It doesn't matter for the Zoomers, as we saw. They don't see what you pin anyway. They've got to pin it themselves. They want a close-up of me, which I can't imagine why. They've got to pin it themselves. There is one exception. What are you doing here? There is one exception to this. And Christy taught me this last week. When we have a speaker up here being evaluated by an online evaluater or vice versa, we want to be able to see them both at the same time when we're in the room. Because when we have the evaluator on Zoom up there and the speaker standing here in front of the lectern or vice versa, the people in the middle of the table are like a ping pong match. They're looking back and forth at this long table like this. If you put, that's when you pin the lectern up there, because you can have both of those videos side by side. I thought that was a nice touch last week, Christy. Thank you very much. Whether that was intentional or not, I think that's great. In closing, since I lost these 2 pages of my outline, don't be intimidated by the Zoom master role. It's all well documented. It's just like speaking and practicing for speaking. All it takes is practice. And we have a mentor. We have our Zoom masters that will mentor you through the process. If you'd like to become familiar with the role, just shadow one of them. Sit right next to the Zoom master during a meeting, and they'll show you all these little techniques as we go through there. Again, the solution is just to practice. So later this winter, when I give a speech from my ice fishing shack, I'll trust one of you to be the Zoom master that will bring me into the room. And my fellow Toastmasters can then experience the joy of sitting in a tent on the ice. I just hope you can zoom in some fish too, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Craig. This could obviously be a 1-hour workshop, just along with Zoom Master. I don't know how if we can make it all the way down to the 5th speech today, but we'll see where we get to. This is our first workshop, so we play with by ear. Our next speaker is going to be Shelly Schell. Her speech is going to be on powerful conclusion. Shelly.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest. And obviously, thank you, Nhien, Mr. Toastmaster. A great speech is very much like a movie, a good play, or even a song, because it often begins with this fantastic beginning that draws us in. And I know that from the people that are on Zoom land, as well as in this room, this club are masters at getting your attention. I've seen dramatic beginnings. I've seen incredible pauses. I've seen demanded participation by the audience. And I've even seen props that have really kicked off a speech and drawn us in. And then gone back and developed point by point. But the question becomes, what do you really remember? And when Nhien offered the opportunity to do an education workshop, and I looked at his suggested topics, I went, okay, it's time you step up. Because my weakest part of almost every presentation I have ever given is my conclusion. And this is how it happens. I get this wonderful idea of a topic, and then I let it percolate for a bit in my mind. And like the waves start crashing in with this energy of, how do I develop this? How do I draw them in? How do I make them care? Then what am I going to tell them? And then the tide goes out. And my energy ebbs away. And so does my conclusion, because by the time I get there, I have nothing left to give to my conclusion. And that's how the speech ends, with pretty much nothing. So I am a firm disciple of the adage, the best way to learn is to teach. And that's what we're going to do this morning. We're going to dig into effective conclusions. And I'm learning right along with you this morning. What we are going to do is I'm going to ask you to put on your walking shoes, tie your shoelaces, and we're going to go for a little journey. So let's get started. The first rest stop we're going to take is we're going to begin with the end in mind. Okay, so I was kind of expecting a couple chuckles. Hello, Covey fans. But we are going to begin with the end in mind, because Brian Tracy suggests the best way to have a fantastic conclusion is to very first thing with your speech, write your goal what you want people to do as a result of your presentation. Be very, very clear in what your objective is. Then write that conclusion word for word. Only then do you get to go back and develop that amazing opening and develop how you're going to present your information. Begin with the end in mind. My goal for this morning for all of you is that after this presentation, my only requirement is that at your next opportunity, you put as much energy into your conclusion as you do into your opening. So now as we continue our journey, you're thinking, well, Shelly, that's all fine and good. You still didn't tell me how to do that. So our second stop this morning is going to look at some approaches on how do we effectively conclude a presentation. And we're only going to talk about 3. The first one is a really striking story. Now in this group, we have some absolute masters at storytelling. But the research shows that if you're going to use a story as a conclusion, it better be your best one of the entire speech. Here's something that really struck me. The conclusion should be 10 to 15% of your presentation. In a 7-minute speech, that's a minute. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm giving a presentation and I'm coming close to wrapping it up, a minute feels like an eternity. Because I just want this puppy wrapped up and out. So 10 to 15% of your speech in your conclusion, tell a story that wraps it up incredibly well. Second approach, call to action. A great example. The Salvation Army has a lot of challenges and tremendous opportunities. If we rally with them and donate to Bernard and go on to Sign Up Genius and take our time at ringing the bell, we can all help them make next year their best in history. Please log on to Sign Up Genius and take your slot. That's an effective call to action. And the third way to effectively conclude a presentation is to have a memorable quote. Now, that memorable quote, if we start it with the end in mind, might actually be your title. It might be how you opened, but it gives you a really nice way and something super sticky that can stay in the mind of your audience when you conclude. So we have taken a bit of a journey and we're nearing our destination this morning. We have discussed beginning with the end in mind and how to write out our goal and objective and then go back and prepare our speech. Writing out that conclusion word for word. I can tell you that I've had that experience where I've written a speech, got to writing a good conclusion, and had to go back and redraft the speech because the conclusion that I wanted didn't match what I had developed for the speech. I remember that because of how frustrated I was in having to spend that extra time. Begin with the end in mind. And then our second stop was looking at 3 approaches: a striking story, a call to action, and a memorable quote. My ask for you this morning is to rise to my objective, and on your very next opportunity, whether that be here at Toastmasters, at work, or even out in the community, step in and put as much effort into your conclusion as all of you do into your opening. We've taken a few steps this morning on this journey. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Thank you, Shelly, for that strong, powerful conclusion. Our next speaker is going to be Gatz. All of us here have been blessed with a beautiful instrument, and it can be played in many ways. Today, Eric will come up to encourage us to expand the uses of that instrument. He's Eric with Expand Your Vocal Variety.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, my fellow Toastmasters, and to all of our wonderful welcome guests. Fellow Toastmasters, when it comes to communication, we have all been blessed with the most amazing gift. This beautiful, wonderful voice. Our voice is an amazing tool. And if used properly, when you're trying to give a speech or communicate something, you can take whatever you're saying to the next level. Today, I'd like to go through 5 different things with the help of a YouTuber by the name of Vin Zhang that we can do to take our communication to a whole nother level. Number 1, the rate at which you speak. You see, the rate at which you speak is so important because you could have a lot of things to say and you could be going at 100 miles an hour and you could get everybody involved in what you're saying and you can go, 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 go. And that shows excitement. But if you continue on that speed and you continue to go that speed the whole time that you're speaking and you just go, 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 and you get to the end of your speech and you're just, that's it, I'm done. Everybody's going to feel a couple different things. Number 1 is they're going to be trying to catch their breath because you're going so fast. And number 2 is after a while, when you hit that speed and you continue to go that speed, they're going to zone out because you're not really saying anything after a while and they're not able to lock anything in that you're saying. Versus if you have something really important to say and you have a point that you want to make. See, I'm not really saying anything at all right now, but you all are super engaged with what I'm saying. You can slow down your rate of speech and you can really bring in an audience of people. So make sure, number 1, that you vary and modulate your rate of speech. When you're excited, you can speed up a little bit. When you're trying to make a really important point, stop, slow down, and pause. Number 2 is your volume. You see, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is a little bit of a whisper, and 10 is you're yelling and screaming everything that you have to say. The perfect range that we're looking for is about a 5 or a 6. And of course, you want to modulate that as well. The average soft speaker speaks at about a 3, and they get up and they have a lot to say. And they're very important in their field. And they know all the things that they're trying to say and get across to you. But when they're speaking like that, you often think that they're insecure, that they don't quite know what they're saying, that they're not, well, they don't really believe in what they're saying. Versus if they use a little bit of volume, use a little bit of punch, they get that voice up to a 5, up to a 6. Again, it doesn't really sound like I'm saying much right now, but it believes. I become a little bit more believable. I become more confident. I believe that I have a little bit of authority in what I'm saying. And of course, to the audience, they're a lot more believable. The third thing is pitch. Now, pitch is a little bit hard to describe. So I'm going to do it with a little bit of a story. How many of you know the song Chopsticks? The piano song? Yeah, I've got most hands I can see up in the room, and you think of those the chopsticks. Beautiful song, right? When it's played. But if you had somebody brand new and playing piano come up to you and say, guess what? I'm learning the song Chopsticks. And you want to listen? And you go up to them. Yeah, absolutely. You want to encourage them, right? And they go up to the piano and they're going do 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 because they only memorize the first 2 notes. And they do that for 1 minute straight. Something's going to happen. You're probably going to get a little bit annoyed and you're going to tune them out. Well, you see, when people are speaking, oftentimes they only use 1 or 2 notes. But just like a piano, your voice has 88 beautiful notes that can be used when you're speaking. And if you use all of those notes, you can get people more engaged. Another way that I like to think about it is, how many of you like to read books? Hopefully all of you. How many of you have read a book more than once? More than 3 times? More than 5 times? More than 10? Craig, perfect. Name one book you've read more than 10 times. Okay, It by Stephen King. Quote page 23 for me. You've read it more than 10 times. Why can you not quote page 23? Now, Craig, I know you love to sing. Name one song that you like to sing.
I know that my Redeemer lives.
Okay. Can you quote every word from I Know That My Redeemer Lives?
Absolutely not.
You cannot? Probably. Okay. Now, the average book page has about 280 words. The average song is about 280 words. Yet you can't quote page 23 that you've read a bunch of times in Stephen King's It. But when it comes to a song, most of us can sing almost every word in a song. And that's due to melody, to pitch. You see, if you speak with more melody, what you say becomes more memorable. Let me say that one more time. If you speak with more melody, what you say becomes more memorable. And then one thing that I want to warn when it comes to pitch, make sure that you're not using the same pitch over and over in your speech. You see, because you can be saying something and then you can continue to speak that same way. And then you continue with your speech the same way. And you end the sentence every single time the same way. Again, you become what I call a sing-songy voice. You have to be aware of the sing-songy voice because, again, you start to sound the same throughout your entire speech and people start to tone you out. Number 4, tonality. This one I could go on for a while. I'll try to keep it as short as I can, but tonality, that is the emotion that lives under the words that you are saying. Tonality. Do any of you kind of know that person, that guy, that gal, that looks like the first thing that they did in the morning was they sucked on a lemon? They walk into your office, they walk past you. Hey, how you doing this morning? Fine. How you feeling this morning? Fine. How was your weekend? Yeah, it was good. You see, because your face is the remote control for the emotion that lives under your words. Here's a good example. I'll give you a couple of them. Ready? I got to overact here a little bit. I'm so happy. Here's another one. Oh, I'm really angry right now. And finally, and that's the story of how my grandpa passed away. Now, every single one of you in this room looked at me as insincere, as I said each one of those, because my emotions didn't match up with the words that I was saying. When you are speaking and you come across as somebody as monotone, you're coming across as monotone because a monotone face, a monotone body creates a monotone speaker. To be an effective speaker, to be an effective communicator, you have to be able to show the 6 basic human emotions. And that is happy, sad, disgust, fearful, angry, surprised, and surprised. When you can incorporate these 6 emotions into your regular speaking, you come alive to people and your authenticity radiates to everyone else. So remember tonality when you are speaking. And finally, last but not least, pausing. Pausing gives people time to process what you've said. Just like varying your rate of speech as you're saying something important. When you pause, you draw people in and you give their brains an opportunity to write down what you have just said. It highlights what you've said as something that is important. And of course, it helps to eliminate non-words. So, and of all of your filler words. Those extra ands, those extra so's, the you knows, that's my biggest one. And those words that you kind of drag out. It's okay to just pause. My fellow Toastmasters, I've given you 5 things that you can do to create a more powerful voice and to be more a better communicator. Number 1, rate of speech. Number 2, volume. Number 3, pitch. Number 4, tonality. And number 5, pausing. I hope that you can use these tools to better become a better communicator yourself. And as I've heard from many different Toastmasters, they may not remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Eric. That was a fascinating speech with all kind of speed, volume, and rate and pitch. We learned a lot. Our next speaker is going to be Karpagam Maran. Her topic is probably the most important topic at this workshop. Keeping us on time with your speech. Karpagam.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and all the Zoom Toastmasters. Time is respect. We have a lot of sayings about time, but in the speaking world, time is respect. I have to respect each one of your time. And respect the speakers who are going to be behind me, their time. My Toastmaster who was getting nervous with the first speaker's time because he has to now plan the meeting differently. All parts of a Toastmasters must spend time because we have to give our speeches in time. If it's humor master, you're a table topic speaker, because we would give chance for everybody to speak. Above all, if you're going for a contest in Toastmasters, you're disqualified if you go over the time. What more can I say to convince you all? Time is everything. We had speakers before us here talking about final ending. Yes, great. Will I remember that? If your speech was dragging and long for 5 minutes, you did 10 minutes. Your ending is lost to me. Your vocal variety, your drama is lost to me. And I can say this from my experience. I thought, a wonderful speech about my Australia trip some weeks ago in this club. I had too many slides. And I thought the timer was wrong. He didn't turn off the light from the previous thing, and I kept going. And nobody now remembers all the beautiful pictures of what all I said about Australia, but everybody remembers I went over time. Remember that next time when you write a speech. Now, how do we make the speech on time? For people who prepare speeches and practice with time, they don't have a problem. But there are some people who prepare speeches, but they want to let out everything they know. Then there is a problem because you did not now stop the speech when you need to. So how do those people can stop their speech on time? In my books, you have to make the important point to be said that you want to say. Make sure you're covered. Rest, send it in an email, or somehow make the people know, or say there's a part 2 of my speech. In my working world, I did this well because you're always timed. Of course, you had a boss, so you had to do things on time. And your speech, I worked with a PowerPoint so that I won't forget the important things I have to say. And I finished on time. I noticed in my retirement world now, I'm lacking in time in everything I do except to catch a flight. So how should I do, a person like me? Somehow, see, even I forgot to start my watch or not my time. I'm now depending on Dave to show the right time because I have to respect all your time and finish my speech on time. So what should I do? I have to write my important points and I want to make sure I mention those. And the rest, if I don't, who knows that I didn't say that? Only I know. Why I worry about it and bombard you all with extra time of my speech and make a worried face for my Toastmaster. And when I spoke the last time, everybody had a worried face. And I thought that was an interesting look for my speech, hey. But in this hybrid world, one thing that I found difficult is the timing job. When I say that, when we have a Zoomer timer, we have to duplicate them here because we would see it. When we have a timer here today in the room, we make sure the Zoomers can see that. Either we have to have extra equipment or do some other method they can see it. So this is where it comes a little tricky that we have to get the timing thing on ourselves. Now I see a green light. Should I stop? Should I go on? What is my finish? My finish is, ladies, time is everything when you're speaking, and I'm respecting you all and finishing mine on time.
Thank you, Karpagam. I'm going to say all our speeches today are going to have part 2 or maybe part 10. AI and public speaking, a match made in heaven. This is the title suggested by artificial intelligence. Good morning, fellow Toastmaster and distinguished guests. In 2023, we hear about the world's obsession with AI everywhere. AI in your phone, AI in the car, AI at work. How about AI in public speaking? Have you ever wondered what AI in public speaking can do for us as Toastmasters, that we can leverage AI's power to enhance our public speaking and presentation skill? Well, that's what set me out to start my journey in research about AI and public speaking. Are they really a match made in heaven, or is it just a world's obsession? Heaven or obsession? We'll find out. Next. Okay. There's a lot of click that I need to do though.
Click once. There you go.
Okay, so let's start out with a little history of AI first. Unlike most people believe, AI was actually back in 1950, not just recently. And it started out with Alan Turing proposed that the machine can use information and reasoning to solve problems and make decisions. In 1964, the first demo of an AI program which understands natural language was introduced. Then in 1965, just 1 year after that, the first chatbot, Eliza, was invented. And jump to 1997, there's a breakthrough. IBM's Deep Blue chess program beat the Russian grandmaster chess player Garry Kasparov. This proved that AI can not just learn from human, but also can exceed and beat human. Going forward to 2009, Google started building a first self-driving car. 2011, our cell phones, our virtual assistants, Siri, Google Now, and Cortana became mainstream. In 2002, just within the last year, Microsoft released ChatGPT, which revolutionized generative AI and large language model. This marked the beginning of AI commercialization era because of the advanced computing power and the speed infrastructure that we have today that make AI more powerful, so then it's more sufficient as compared to back in the 1950s. And most importantly, on September 8, 2022, Toastmaster International announced the partnership with AI-powered public speaking platform, Yuli. So today I'm going to share with you about Yuli and how we can use that to help enhance our public speaking. This is the mission statement on Yuli's website. Yuli improves your communication skills with private, real-time, and judgment-free speech coaching and your online meetings, powered by AI. So some of the features about Yuli, first of all, it is free. Free, that's the most important thing that we can get everybody started, right? Free. So I want to emphasize that free. So there's no reason why you're not trying it. Secondly, it provides transcript. So when you're recording yourself on Yuli, it will turn your words into text. And it can also have the ability to rephrase it, simplify to main point, or even rewrite it as a limerick for you. I don't really trust that one. I tried it and it's kind of weird, but do it at your own risk. You know, you always have to second check and proofread it as well. And also it allows you to comment, or also allow you to share your recording to your fellow Toastmaster, and then they can comment on your video so you can be tracking where exactly they're trying to comment on throughout your video. So it's really great to provide feedback among fellow Toastmasters about your speech. And finally, there's also provide analytics. This will allow you to know how many filler words you've been using. These are your ums and an ah. So basically, when you're practicing by yourself, you're not going to have an R counter around sitting counting your and ah. This AI can be your R counter. And it also keeps track of a lot of stuff that Eric was talking about, such as your words, your pace, your pause, and also your eye contact. So there's numerous things. I'm just going to touch the overview today because, like I said, all our speeches can be a 1-hour workshop if we really cover everything. So first of all, I want to show you how you access Yuli. You just log into your Toastmaster account just under your normal Toastmaster website, and you scroll all the way down to the bottom on the homepage, and there's the button Yuli at the bottom. You just click onto that, and it's going to bring you directly to the Yuli website. And what is better, you don't even need to create an account or a new password. It's going to automatically link your Toastmaster account to Yuli. So it's seamless. It's very easy to use. Okay. So on the upper left corner, I know it's a little small. That is basically the screenshot of the Yuli website as I was recording myself in my bedroom. And I just pull up a random speech back in 2015 of my script, and I just kind of like read it to the AI and recording it on Yuli, and it provided me the transcript of what I said. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I highlighted 2 boxes on the first top paragraph, and one is for fluorescent, and the other word is assist. And actually, when I read through the transcript, I know that the AI was recognizing the wrong word or misunderstood me, because English is my third language, and oftentimes I did not pronounce word correctly. So I was able to put in a comment on the 17th second of my speech that I meant fluorescing rather than fluorescent. So that will allow me to either replace my word with another word that I can easily speak, or just put a reminding note for myself so that I know to pronounce that word better. So assist is actually what I meant was assist, not assist. So that is how you use that feature. And on the upper, and then on the bottom paragraph, that is when I ask the AI to rephrase it for me. So paraphrase it in a more concise manner. My introduction, my word count was 123 words, which is very wordy. But with the AI we paraphrased it, it was down to 93 words, which is a 25% cut in the word count, and which can save me a lot of time in my speech. Perfect. So that I thought that is a very useful feature. Okay. And then on the upper right, there's another tab called Analytic. When you go to Analytic, it's going to show you different kind of criteria. So on this one, for example, it is showing my posture in front of the camera. Am I always been looking at the camera in the center, or did I dash away from the camera as I was speaking? If I'm out of the center, it will show me that as well during my speech. And then it will give me my pace. So for my speech, during my five-minute speech, I was speaking at a 130 words per minute, which was conversational. And you can see the graph right there as I go faster or slower during my speech. And this will kind of go hand in hand with Eric's speech about your pace. You can see at what point your speech is going really fast and which point is going slower. And then you can match the words in your speech to see if you were doing it at the appropriate time. So that is very helpful report. And the eye contact, I did not do very well. That's something that you can improve on. Is that I was looking away from the screen 90% of the time and only looking at the camera for 10% of the time, which was exactly right because I was basically reading my script from the 2015 speech. So I was not looking at the camera when I was doing this. So it also provides a bunch of other statistics that I did not share with you today, such as your eye report, your arm report, as well as like weak words that you use, such as the word very, probably. It will point all those things out for you. One thing that I like to do a lot is repeated word when I stumble over things. And it will also point out where the repeated words are. And you click on that, it's gonna jump you to the video time frame where you repeated the word. So you can replay that specifically and you know where your repeated words are and how many and how often you have repeated word. So that was a quick overview of using Yuli and how AI helped me to improve my speech. Obviously, you are still the mastermind of creating the original content. AI is just a tool that help embellish and enhance your speech. So the next time, give AI a try on your next speech. Thank you. So thank you, everybody. And I'm glad that you guys learned a lot from today's education session. This is our first one, and we went kind of a little over time, but we'll get better next time. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.